Hey everybody, it's Chance Darling again from Barnett Clutches and Cables. You can see we got our bike up on the lift. Today we're going to do a lock-up pressure plate. It more or less it fits on the stock inner hub. You can use stock steel plates, stock friction plates, or you can use one of our clutch kits. Basically all it's going to do, it's going to allow you to have a decent lever pull if you got a big horsepower engine like this Jim's engine here. But it's kind of a little bit cheaper version, a little bit easier than a full Scorpion deal, but it works really well. Or the other side to it is if you've got a bad wrist or a bad hand, you can't pull a lot of spring pressure. With this lock-up pressure plate, you can actually run lighter springs in it, so the lever pull is going to be easier. And then once the RPMs go up, the weights go out and squeeze the clutch, that way it doesn't slip. So if you're a lady and you got a small hand or you got just a bad wrist or something, it works really good in that. So it works out pretty well. So here we go. So with the kit, you get of course you get a new pressure plate. It's billet aluminum. It's got 6 coil springs in it instead of a diaphragm spring, so it works a lot better. You get a better feel on the lever, better engagement, better disengagement. It actually comes with 3 different sets of springs, more or less a light, medium, and a heavy duty. So depending on what kind of horsepower you're making or that, you can change the springs. You can alternate springs like light, medium, light, medium, light, medium. So it gives a little bit more spring pressure, but not all of it. And then if you've got a hydraulic bike, like the Harley Davidson hydraulic, where it's got the normal, this is for the cable, so it's got an adjuster in it. It's the same pressure plate, but it's machined differently so it'll have a bearing in the pressure plate. So that way it works with like the CVOs or any of the newer bikes that come with the hydraulic clutch on them. They're done special, it's the same idea. You don't have to buy any other parts or anything. You just order the one that's for the cable clutch or order the one for the hydraulic. So pretty straightforward deal. So should be good to go. All right, well, as you can see, I already got the primary cover off and the foot peg and floorboard and whatever. So as always, unhook your negative battery terminal just for safety. Refer to your owner's manual and kind of get it to this point, because all the bikes can be a little bit different as far as foot pegs or floorboards or ship linkage or whatever. So you get down to here, pop the cover off, and then you got your clutch. So basically, it's pretty straightforward. You're just going to remove the 6 bolts here, and then you're going to remove the pressure plate, diaphragm spring, and the retainer. I mean, all of our new parts will fit right there. So, I mean, it's 10mm wrench. You got your 7/16 Allen, 11/16, and then you're pretty much ready to go. So the first thing you want to do is go up to your clutch cable. You just want to get to the adjuster. You're going to shorten it all the way. So basically, up at the lever, you're going to have just all 3 play up there. It'll just make it easier when you're adjusting the push rod later on. It's just already a done deal. So just get it collapsed all the way down. There'll be nothing up at the lever, basically. Push it in. Then grab your socket or your wrench or whatever. Loosen up the jam nut. It just takes the pressure off. And then from there, you just grab your 10mm socket, and wrench, whatever you want to use, and basically just loosen them all up a little bit. Because this is a big diaphragm spring, so they're going to be under pressure. So you want to kind of evenly loosen them up. Kind of go in a little star pattern like you're taking a wheel off your car or whatever. And you can see it pushing it out. So if you go too far on one, it's just going to bend everything, which you're not going to reuse anything, but it just makes it easier. It's less wear and tear on the clutches. And you might want to kind of pay attention to it a little bit, make sure everything just doesn't fall out and end up all over the place. Like I said, you got your retainer, got your diaphragm spring. And then you got your pressure plate. Maybe just hold the pressure plate in, or the top friction plate when you pull the pressure plate out. That way you don't lose everything. The push rod comes out a little bit too, so just maybe give it a little push back in. And like I said, you're not going to reuse any of this stuff, so you can put it aside, get it out of your way. Then from there, I mean, you might want to inspect your plates, make sure your plates are all good since everything's right there. I mean, you can see here we already got our carbon fiber or our Kevlar extra plate kit in there. So, like I said, it works with the stock clutches, stock inner hub. Everything's here. This is our original basket, original inner hub. Just got our clutch pack in it. Just gives it a little bit more strength. So, basically, you just grab the pressure plate, put your adjuster in it, make sure you're ready to go. And like I said before, this works with, if you've got a CVO or a bike with the Harley Davidson hydraulic clutch on it, it's the same piece, it's just got a bearing instead of the adjuster. This does not work with the new assist and slip clutches though, that Harley offers, or assist and, the ones that they call the assist and slip. There's a couple of people call them different names, the slipper clutch. It's got 3 springs on the inner hub, so it's a totally different design. So this will not fit with that. But so you just kind of line up the studs here, push it through the holes. And then you want to make sure the teeth engage. I mean, you can see right now it's wobbling, so you got to loosen up the adjuster a little bit. I pushed it in a little bit too far. And then you just want to make sure the teeth and everything line up and mesh up good. You can see it's going back a little bit, so everything's all tight and secure. There's no movement, it's down, there's no gaps up here. You want to make sure everything's in all the way. So from there, you just grab your one of the sets of springs. Like I said, it comes with 3 different sets of springs, more or less a light, medium, and a heavy duty. Kind of depends what you want to do engine-wise, or like I said, you got a bad hand, you just want some lighter springs. So we're just going to put the light springs in, just so you can see what it does, how it works. But you just set the springs in there. And then from there, you want to grab the lockup head. And basically the lockup head, it's just got the little recesses in the back. That's where the springs go in. And the little fingers here, that's where the weights actually work. They actually line up on the stainless steel inserts here, so that way it doesn't eat in the aluminum or anything like that. So it lasts a long time. So basically you just want to kind of line it all up a little bit and kind of make sure you're there. And then we supply the hardware. It's already got a little bit of Loctite on them. So you just kind of put them all, get them all started. And these are actually, it's a 5mm Allen that you use. It's not a 3/16 like a lot of people think, because it's actually metric. So, and the 3/16 fits in there, but it'll be a little wobbly, and you're gonna end up stripping them out. So like I said, you kind of just get the bolts all started. And one thing you want to do, you can see where these weights are kind of falling down. It's just the weight of them. You actually want to push them up and then get the bolts started. Otherwise, they're going to be stuck in the down position, and it's not going to tighten up all the way. It'll bind everything up. So basically, you're going to put it together the same way you took it apart. Once you get all the bolts in there started, you want to go in a star pattern and just kind of more or less work it down evenly all the way around, snug them down. Like I said, you want to make sure you hold the weights up so they don't bind up. And let's go across. Takes a little bit of time, but you just want to make sure they're all even and work their way down. I mean, it's a pretty thick aluminum plate, so you're not really going to bend it or anything, but you just don't want to mess anything up. And like I said, you got to just keep holding the weights up because they keep falling down, and then they're going to bind up. So Then once you get them all to the point of where they're just bottoming out, then you want to go back and grab your torque wrench, and basically the bolts will all get torqued to between like 5 to 7 foot-pounds. So it's just a 6mm thread going into an aluminum hub, so you don't want to break anything off. But once you get them all snug, then, I mean, I'm not using a torque wrench, but I recommend that you do. Just kind of torque them down. You want to go across from each other. Same way you tighten them up, nice and even. And that's it. And once you get that, just kind of, I like to grab each one, make sure nothing's binding up, making sure everything's all good and moving. I mean, they make a little bit of noise, but when everything's running, you don't really notice it and the cover's on and all that. So from there, you got all those torqued. The next step would be grab your little Allen wrench to readjust the push rod. I mean, you got your cable adjuster collapsed all the way still. So you're just gonna turn it in until it just touches. And maybe kind of go a few times to make sure you get a good seat on it. I mean, sometimes you can even run it in a little bit. Make sure your ball and ramp on the other side is down all the way to 0. And you can actually see the pressure plate moving out. So then back it off to where there's nothing on it. Turn it in until it just touches again. Back it off between about 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn. And then kind of run the nut down, depending how far out it is. This makes it easier to go like this. But I like to put the wrench in there, put my socket in, kind of get it close. And then back it off. And then just one more time, just make sure you go in until it touches, back it out 1/2, 3/4 of a turn. Tighten down the jam nut. I mean, you want to hold the wrench on here to make sure you're not backing the push rod adjuster away, because that'll throw everything out of whack. So get that good and tight. I think it's like 12 to 15 foot-pounds on the jam nut. So once you get that, you want to go back up to your cable adjuster, and then you're going to adjust the cable adjuster. Basically, you're just going to go up to it, start unscrewing it out. And I mean, everybody's kind of got their own opinion on how much free play they like up at the clutch lever. I mean, rule of thumb is like a dime to a nickel, like a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch. And just make sure, I mean, you can see it moves. It's nice and easy now. But I mean, it's kind of a personal preference. If you go a little bit too loose, it might drag a little bit. If you go a little bit too tight, it's going to slip. So I'd rather be on the loose side just so you don't burn the clutch out and make sure. So then you just snug down the adjusters or the jam nut and put the rubber boot back on. And then you got the little spring retainer clip thing here. And then just make sure it moves nice and free. And from there, you can see the pressure plate, everything's there. You can pull the clutch lever in. You can see everything moving. One thing with this, when you do pull the clutch lever in, sometimes it looks like the pressure plate's moving a little crooked or something. That's nothing to worry about. Basically, you're pushing on a 6-inch pressure plate with a 1/4-inch rod. So you're more or less just pushing like this. So sometimes it's going to be a little crooked. When the bike is running, everything's spinning, it's going to be spinning nice and true anyways. So nothing to worry about. So this is all tight. You got your jam nut tight. You got your clutch cable all adjusted. So you're ready to go. You can put your primary cover back on. So once you get your primary cover on, you can see the weights stick out past the cover a little bit. We designed this to fit on 07 and later big twins, and it'll fit with the stock derby cover. You don't need to worry about any spacers or anything like that. If you have a 98 to 06 big twin, our kit actually comes with a spacer and 2 gaskets and then 5 new bolts. So basically, you'd put the gasket on each side of the spacer, and then you put your derby cover on from there, and then you'd have plenty of clearance. But like I said, this is a 2000 and later, so it'll just fit right on. I mean, basically, all the derby covers are a little bit different the way they're made inside. I mean, even the Harley one's a little bit different. I mean, this is it's not a stock one from Harley. It's an aftermarket Harley deal, but it's still dished out, so it fits with the weights. But like I say, put it on there. You want to make sure it seals. If it was hitting, it would be wobbling, and then that's not good. So if it does hit, put the spacer behind it, and you'll be good to go. The other option, we also sell clear derby covers, and they're machined to where they fit on the 98 to 06 or the 07 or later, and they clear the lockup heads. And then with these on there, you can see everything, see where your money's going. It's like jewelry right there. So everybody loves that. So there's that option too. But basically, once you know everything fits there, you want to make sure you put your primary fluid back in it. Like I said, we've got our extra plate kit in there. So any motorcycle specific oil works good with our clutches. Doesn't matter what brand it is. Just as long as it's motorcycle specific, synthetic, mineral based, or whatever you want, they're all good with our clutches. So put the right amount of fluid in there. You know, your derby cover fits and clears the weights. So put all that back on. Put your derby cover on, tighten that up, put your shifter, floorboard, and you'll be good to go. So hope this helps you out today. As always, you can always contact us at our website, barnettclutches.com. I mean, you can see all of our products, or give us a call if you've got questions or need help picking out whatever, or just basic install things, just let us know. Thanks.